We have Adam Manah here with us tonight. He's with the Sherwood Park Crusaders and has done an amazing job over there building that program into a contender and a place that's producing NHL level draft picks. So again, his team development and player development, I think, speaks for itself, and really takes an interest in the statistical and data and technological side too. So thanks for coming, Adam, and coaches, thanks for attending. This one will be recorded and edited and posted as well. So I'll turn it over to you, Adam. Thanks again, and really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, thanks for having me, and coaches, thanks for jumping on. Hopefully, this will be it'll be helpful for you guys. I did kind of a PowerPoint and mixed in some vids so that it's not just me talking, because that's not interesting or fun at all. So, Joel, is the screen shared or?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so there we go. Awesome. So just making sure everybody can see that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So Joel did a little bit of an introduction. I'll just take you through where I've kind of where I've been as a player and now as a coach. I don't know how many Northsiders we have on the call, but born and raised on the north side in Clairview. 34 years now. I played novice Adam and Pee Wee within the Braves, North Stars, and Eagles organizations, and then was a Maple Leaf kid growing up. I played 1 year at Bantam Triple at 14, and that's when the age change kicked in. I'm sure most of you remember that. And then I played 2 years for the Leafs at Midget Triple, and then played 1 year in Fort Sask. I actually played under Dan Ockenberg, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with. He's now at the St. Albert Slash. And then I ended up going up to Fort McMurray and playing for Gord Thibodeau for 3 years. Was lucky enough to win one AJ championship in 05-06. That was the year that I got there. And then we lost in Game 7 of the AJ Finals against Camrose again in 07-08. That was my 20-year-old year. So that was the heated rivalry back between 05 and 08. Or maybe even a little bit further back. Camrose and Fort Mac were kind of the two teams in the AJ that were really running show at that time. So just a brief, quick coach bio. So I work with Joel. I'm lucky enough to work with him at St. FX, along with Steven Zip. So we're all on the ice at St. FX. Together running that high performance group. And then I'm also at St. Edmund on the north side with Umberto Ferrillo. I've been at St. Ed's for probably, I think it's close to 10 years now, pardon me. And when I first started at St. Ed's, that's when I got my first head coach job at, with KC and Pee Wee AA. And then I moved over to CAC and took the Bantam AA's. Lucky enough to win the city league and provincial titles that year, all in one shot. Then moved up to Bantam AAA with CAC as well. And then that's when I came at the crossroad of I had to make a decision of, do I want to move to continue to be, to be a career coach? I was about 24, 25 at the time, and I decided to move up to Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie's program was really struggling at that time. I believe when I got there, I think they had 4 wins in Midget AAA in the last 3 years prior. And that's out of, I guess, 33 games a year. So let's say 4 wins out of almost about 100 games. So we were lucky enough to, get the ball rolling in year 1, kind of changed the culture a little bit. And then in year 2 and year 3, that's when we took some significant strides. We made the playoffs my final year there, and made the Max tournament for the first time. So that move paid off for me because I was able to join the Edge Hockey Academy up there, which was tied in Edge Calgary at the time. And then they also offered me an assistant coach job with the Storm in the Alberta Junior Hockey League as well. So I was basically running from the midget job running from academy to the midget AAA job to the junior A job. So I was, it was a good thing I was single at the time, because I had lots of time to just run from one job to the next. But the experience was the biggest thing for me, and just all the mentors that I had and the other coaches that I learned from. It's all kind of helped me today, and I wouldn't be at where I'm at if I didn't have that. So whether that's through that pipeline or again at the CFX or St. Edmunds. So then after the 3 years in Grand Prairie, I was offered the assistant coach job with the Crusaders. Tim Fragel was the head coach at the time. He was also a CAC alumni guy. He ended up moving to Nate in his second year, and then I was promoted, and I've been the head coach since 2016. So that's kind of where I've been at with Sherwood Park. I was named an assistant coach for Team Canada West this year at the World Junior A Challenge. Obviously, that did not happen with COVID, so hopefully that'll be next year. And then Ian Herbers with the U of A Golden Bears actually also asked me to join their coaching staff as a part-time assistant this year. So it's been very valuable learning off a guy like him as well. So there's just kind of a brief, quick rundown of who I am as where I played and now as a coach. So you guys kind of have a little bit of background noise on who I am. So I guess to get into the topic here of analytics, some people really look at analytics and they really they really kind of lean on that as their crutch, and then other people are like, it's overrated. I think for myself, and again, there's no right or wrong answer. Let's make that clear. Whatever you feel is important to your foundation and to your team, that is number one. I mean, I'm never gonna say, well, you shouldn't do it that way, or you should do it this way. I mean, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. And the biggest thing is it simple, or is it more confusing to the average person or the average coach? So, I mean, I'm sure most of you have heard the term Corsi, and that's a term that's being used a lot in the NHL right now. But to sum it up, it's basically measuring the number of chances. So Corsi measures the shots on goal, shots wide, and block shots. It tends to paint a bigger picture of the entire game than just the traditional count of shots on goal. So do we really need to analyze as many numbers as they do? Does it tell the whole story? I guess, again, like I kind of mentioned, it depends on your mindset. If you're maybe more old school, you're probably thinking, what do we need to look at all those numbers for? And then maybe if you're on the newer school end, you might be basing your team and individual player numbers strictly off the analytics side and the video side. For myself, I could probably tell you that I'm maybe a mix of both. I'm a little, I'm maybe, I don't want to say leaning more towards the old school side, but I think a mixture of both and taking, the good parts of the newer school and then still focusing on the older school is still valuable and still important. So I have a little vid here. I don't know if you guys saw this on, I guess it used to be Tim and Sid. Now it's Tim and Friends. I think the name needs work personally, but this was on International Women's Day, and they had Shifley on, and he kind of talked about what he thinks about analytics. So hopefully the sound works and you guys can hear this.
I mentioned this to you before, but you and my old man have something in common. You both played for the Kitchener-Waterloo Dutchman, about 60 years apart, but you both played there. He's a numbers guy, and we were talking about analytics, and he said there's way too many variances. Like there's too many factors that play in: who you play with, what their strengths are, who's on the ice, why they're on the ice, who you're playing against, why they're on the ice. Do you feel like all this stuff can clog your brain as you're making split-second decisions on maybe the fastest game on planet Earth outside Highline? Or do you just think that people are over-explaining something and can't understand it unless they're on the ice?
Well, that's what I think it is. I think, even the little minute spin of the puck changes things.
Right.
The amount of spin every time a rim puck gets rimmed around, how much spins on that puck and how much you have to control it. And, a guy can be closing on you at so many different amounts of speed that I think that's why analytics, don't come into play. It's just because there's so many, exactly that, there's so many different variables that can happen on every single play, and there's no the only reset is a face-off, and it goes back to so many variables again. So I think that's why I'd rather watch a game. I can tell, certain reads that guys are making, if they're good or bad. Certain plays that guys are making, under duress, or is it totally, on the outside opposed to being on the inside of guys. So those things all make a difference. So I think that's kind of my reasoning behind why I don't like analytics, is because I understand how tough it is and how fast it is and how quick of a decision you have to make. And as soon as there's if you're unsure about a play, that's what makes it that's what makes it hard to quantify a good read or a bad read.
So really good clip I found, and that's why I kind of put it in here. I thought it, this was actually a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to put it right into the presentation, and it should hit it right on the head. But I mean, even Tim right at the beginning, I mean, there's so many factors to the analytics side, and I mean, unless you have a ton of guys within the organization that can break down these analytics for you, I mean, me personally, I think simpler is better for all of us, in my opinion. And I mean, just with what he said, there's so many variables, there's so many things that play into the analytics part. And I mean, for you guys as coaches, and even for myself, I mean, when a guy is playing well, you don't have to look at the analytics in a game and say, yeah, I know Johnny's hot tonight, he's got 2 goals, or he's finishing every check, or whatever it might be, or he's 60% on the draw. I mean, I think that's maybe where I was kind of referring to, a little bit of the old school mentality. And then, after the game, when you break down your video or you break down the analytics, maybe you look a little bit deeper at some of the numbers that, again, that you're kind of representing within your foundation and your team. So really good clip there from Scheifele. And Scheifele's a guy that doesn't really believe in analytics. And if you guys maybe again remember or saw the newspaper article that came out, they were saying some guys, and I don't want to say no-name guys because they're obviously all good players in the NHL, but some guys were ranked higher with their analytics than Leon Draisaitl was, and Draisaitl's second in the league in scoring last year, right? So I mean, you can't really, the analytics, you can only take it so far, and obviously you're not going to say maybe a no-name guy or a fourth line guy is gonna have better numbers than Draisaitl, because Draisaitl is clearly making $8 million a year, and he's out where he's at because of the type of player he is. So hopefully that kind of hits the point there on whether it's simple or confusing to not only us as coaches, but even the average fan. So again, analytics, like we kind of just talked about, it's not the end all be all, right? As a coach, player, parent, fan, I mean, everybody's maybe guilty of overanalyzing the game by simply looking at the numbers. Whether that's, again, individual numbers or team analytics. Again, I feel as coaches, we can't lose our feel. I mean, you have to go with your gut feeling in games. You have to kind of have that sense of, who am I putting on the ice at the right times? Who am I going back with? Are they, who's hot, who's not? Am I mixing up my line combinations? Am I doing it early? Am I doing it, halfway through the game? Are we winning? Are we losing? Like, all these things are analytics themselves, and you as a coach have to make sure that you evaluate your players and your roster and your team, and you're the guy with the sense of feel. I mean, there's been times where for our team we maybe haven't started well, and this is where I tell our guys all the time, it doesn't matter where you start, in our depth chart on that particular day or in that game. We could say a young guy is a fourth line guy to start, but age has no relevance to our team and to our lineup. If a 17-year-old is out playing an older guy, a 19 or 20-year-old who's maybe on our first or second line, well, that 17-year-old, if he's hot that night, he's bumping that guy, and we're bumping him down. I mean, we want to give ourselves the best chance to win. And again, that's not even an analytics thing. That's just having a good sense of the hockey game and knowing your roster and knowing who's going. So again, kind of what I mentioned as well, is just because we do certain things in Sherwood Park doesn't mean that it's right or wrong compared to your way. You go with your gut, and you go with the things that you believe in on your team, and that's the most important thing as a coaching staff, because everyone has their own way, and that's the beauty of the game. Nobody's saying it's right or wrong, and And, the only unfortunate part is we're all based off, how successful we are at the same time. So it kind of is important in a way. So again, analytics can do more harm than good sometimes. I mean, sometimes, as coaches, we want to give the players as much info as we can, but sometimes it can overload them. So again, you have to be very selective, again, with your feel throughout the year of, do we want to show, and this isn't even just on the analytics side, but do we want to show, as much vid as we're thinking? Do we want to tone her back? Maybe we don't post the analytics that day, if we're not very good the night before and everybody knows it. I mean, I don't think it's a secret. The players know it, the coaches know it. That's again having a good feel from your group to say, the numbers weren't good all the way around. I don't think we should bother posting it. So again, that's a thing that you guys as a staff have to come up with and determine if it's the right thing to either show video on that day or show the statistics. Maybe you want to have just individual player meetings if it's something that you're really wanting to address. But again, it's that sense and feel where my next point, individual player analytics may not add up to how they're actually playing, in the coaching staff's eyes. I mean, you guys might want a certain guy to play physical and heavy and play a simple chip in and chase game, where the analytics won't favor him that much, right? So, but in your guys' eyes, he's doing all the things that you're asking him to do, and he's playing the role to a T. So that's another reason why I don't think you can read into the numbers per se too much, because certain guys are going to have better numbers than other guys, and that's just the way it is. So. The biggest thing that we have to just be careful of as coaches is make sure that we're not over coaching the players. Make sure that, again, it goes back to that sense and feel, but, these numbers can be overkill and assess what's important to your team. And that way you can set yourself up for success. We've all been told hockey's a simple game. So why complicate it? I mean, whether it's the analytics, your structure, keep it simple, and sometimes less is more. So some examples of maybe what I mean with the overcoaching, and I kind of touched on a couple of points. One was too much video. So for us, again, we'll cut our video after the weekend. So this weekend, for example, we play Bonnyville back-to-back Friday, Saturday. We'll cut the Friday night game Saturday morning. And if we need to present any video pregame, with any adjustments, we'll do that. And then we'll cut the Saturday game, and we'll probably, this is the kind of the part with the overloading where we don't necessarily think we need to show it early in the week, especially if we don't play again until the weekend after. I think it stays fresher in their minds if you wait until midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, if we're playing Friday, Saturday. That way you can have individual player meetings. You can go over clips, whether it's skill-wise, structure-wise, whatever it might be. And then again, if we have team video, we can show them in the pregame meetings so that, again, it's fresh with our adjustments. And that way, I think, we give ourselves a chance to have success. Too many individual team meetings, again, kind of goes back to what I just said, right? If you're having second thoughts on having a team meeting, and when I say you as a coach or you as a staff, then do the players really want to have one? And I don't know if it's so much prevalent at the minor hockey level, because you guys, I mean, you're still seeing them 4 to 5 times a week. We're seeing our guys 6 to almost 7 times a week. So we really have to be careful with that one. But take, for example, the last 3 months, we've been, kind of in lockdown mode. We had some talks about, should we be doing Zoom meetings once, twice a week? Do we feel it's necessary? Our guys are pretty mature. I don't think, they're online with school. Do they really want to be sitting on another Zoom call? So we kind of had to, scale that back and just make sure, and also talk to your leadership group and judge things off how they're feeling and ask them if they want more team meetings or Zoom calls or things like that. Because some guys might just say, yeah, you know what, we're pretty gassed with school and we got this on the go, and And, it'd just be good if we just keep it to one time a week. So those are things that you might want to keep in mind as well. This might be a big one too, coming to the rink just to come to the rink, with no purpose really behind it. Some guys, again, some coaches maybe think, let's bring them to the rink. Let's bring them to the rink. That might be, let's get them together. Let's do more team building, or let's, have another team meeting, or just, whatever it might be. That can cause more harm than good. I mean, players, again, if they're exhausted mentally, physically, do they really want to be coming to the rink and, another day? And for our guys, for example, obviously with your teams, you're either based out of Sherwood Park or CAC or KC, but you still have guys coming from all over, whether it's the West End, North Side, so you have to be wary of, it's 20 minutes, a 20-minute drive to the rink, 20 minutes back, 40 minutes out of their day. Again, mentally, if they're already tired, now they have to drive. They have to be thinking on the road. They have to think safety. Then they got to get to the rink. They have to think what the meeting's about, right? So it's better to hit reset sometimes, just clear the minds, whether it's the coaching staff or the players, and just take a mental and physical breather. Pre-scout vid. We'll pre-scout our opponent again if we're playing. Right now, obviously, we don't know what Bonnyville's going to do this weekend, but we would normally, if it was a normal year, we would pre-scout early in the week if they didn't have any midweek games, and we would post our pre-scout package that we would put up to the players to look at prior to game time. I'm going to try and share the screen at the end just to give you an example of what one would look like. Just so you guys can get an idea of how detailed our pre-scout is. And just, again, an example of giving the players every tool that they have in front of them, so that, again, we can set ourselves up for success. Sometimes if our pre-scout package tells it all, and we've been seeing an opponent fairly frequently, and we will see Bonnyville 8 times coming up over the next 4 weeks, we won't even bother with the pre-scout video. We'll just put the pre-scout package up on paper, and the players can just review on there. And again, that goes back to just making sure that you're not overloading them too much with either too much video or too much data on the pre-scout. And then just simply overanalyzing the details. Try not to overanalyze your opponent. Players are human. We're human. Nobody's going to be perfect every practice or every game. I mean, don't get caught consuming yourself with the video or the analytics side when you're trying to look at your opponent. I mean, especially with these kids, whether it's at our level or at the minor hockey level, I'm sure you guys have seen it. Man, did we play unbelievable tonight? What a game. Hopefully we can do that again tomorrow. And then the clock flips, they go to bed, and the next day they come, and you're like, holy, where did that go? Like we played so well yesterday, and now we look like the complete opposite, or maybe we're just average. So again, whether it's your opponent or whether it's your team yourself, hopefully you have the consistency that you want. But it's realistically, with these kids, it's not going to happen, right? So you have to be conscious of that as well. So I guess that brings us to the next points, which will help you kind of come up with your analytics. Or your stats that you're keeping. So what is our team identity and what is our team foundation? So it's important for your coaching staff to evaluate your player personnel and make sure that you have a good foundation in place. So some examples would be, and you hear this one all the time, we want to be a team that plays fast. We want to be a team that plays with pace. We want to keep our opponents on their heels. So how do we do that? Obviously, we got to recruit players that fit that mold. We want guys that have speed, that can be dynamic, whether it's off the rush, one-on-one, guys that are maybe shifty, off the rush, that can delay, that can suck those guys in, draw pressure to them, all those kinds of things. Your ozone entries, pucks behind their D, creativity off the rush, like I just mentioned. Those are all important things to identifying your team identity, and that would tie in, and I'm sure it's going to be a couple slides down, but I'm sure most of you guys keep a stat of what your turnovers are at the blue lines, in the danger zones. So that kind of ties into your ozone entries. Are we good off the rush? Are we good reading the rush? And if the opposing D have tight gap, then we got to make sure that we're chipping pucks in and that we're managing the puck correctly. So that's important things, and that kind of goes back to guys with hockey IQ and making sure that you have some smart and intelligent players in your lineup. The ozone forecheck. How do we, do we want to be a passive team? Do we want to be relentless, with our work ethic and our pressure? Do we create turnovers off contact? Those are certain things that you can measure within your video and your analytics to say, okay, is our first guy on the forecheck, is he getting there? Is he, do we have enough speed? Can we create contact, create a turnover? That's things that you can measure to say, well, maybe we should switch from a 1-2-2 into a 2-1-2 because we're not creating enough pressure to create turnovers. Maybe the opposing team's getting out too easy. So those are things that you can measure again within your, if you feel it's important to you, that you can measure within your stats and analytics. Will we be a puck possession team? So again, kind of goes back to guys with high hockey IQ. If you want kind of a blue collar team, maybe they're just a chip and chase type team, and you're not so worried about the possession. You just know they're going to go work like dogs to get it back. But if you're a team, and I'll refer to our team last year, with guys like Atwell, Zapernick, Savoy, Benning, guys that had a lot of high hockey IQ and that could make those smart plays and turn things back when maybe they're areas of the ice closed off and we keep possession ourselves. That's something that you can measure as well. So again, whether it's managing pucks at the blue lines, we tell our guys all the time, no hope plays in the offensive zone, and particularly below the goal line. You see it at, you guys all, I'm sure you all played at one point, but the old, when you're novice Adam or Pee Wee, you get it below the goal line or behind the net, you throw it to the net blind, and you just hope somebody's going to be standing there. So that's something that we really focus on and we track with our turnovers is we make sure that we don't have any hope plays below the goal line in the offensive zone. Changing the point of attack in the offensive zone as well, bumping it behind the net, making sure that, again, we're not throwing it blind to the front of the net or up the wall, forcing our opposition to fatigue. And again, a stat that we keep is what is our blue line success rate? So what I mean by that is we track the turnovers at the blue lines, but what is our success rate at getting over those lines, either making a direct play or making an indirect play to possession? Are we good at the lines? Are we good with our decision making, or are they leading to turnovers? And obviously, if they are, our success rate is probably 50 or below. And then your face-off percentage. Obviously, that's a big part of possession. Do you have strong centermen, or even your wingers? I mean, it's not always about your centermen, but your wingers jump into the draws and they have to be on their toes. We always tell our guys it's their first 50-50 puck battle of their shift. So they have to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that everybody's ready, because we need our centermen or our wingers to help win that first puck possession of once the referee drops the puck. So those are some examples. Here's a few more, and I'm sure this is a big one for a lot of your teams, is heavy at both nets. Winning your one-on-one battles in the red zone, first to the puck on second opportunities. So in the offensive zone, point shot, rebound. Are we winning the one-on-one battles? Are we winning inside body position? Are we getting to the puck first, or is the defensive team getting there? Are we not battling hard enough? So again, those are things that can translate into practice that you can, if you're not winning enough battles at net front, you can generate a drill where you're going low to high, get bodies to the front, and then, and then you're playing out those rebounds. Defensively, are our defensemen boxing out? Are they tying up sticks? Are we able to clear pucks on second and third opportunities? Those are things that you can track. Defense first mentality, our tracking, our reloads, 4 to 5 hard strides, get above our checks, especially, again, it starts in the offensive zone, but you want to limit as many odd man rushes as you can. So again, it's not just about looking at, holy, we gave up 6 3-on-2s or 3 2-on-1s in that period. You got to look further into the detail and say, okay, well, where was our tracking at? Where was our reloads at? Were we, maybe getting 3 guys sucked too low? Those are things, again, that you can track on video. And then again, obviously teach, correct, and then put it into practice. Defense first mentality in our D zone. How well do we end possession time? Can we close time and space? Can we separate the man from puck? Can we eliminate him? Those are all little details that, again, whether it's your D-man playing down low or your first forward back, how's your skill set in terms of stick on puck, body on body, your angles, all those little things play a part into whether you're going to get out of your zone quicker or you're going to be hemmed in for a while. Team tough, these would be the intangibles. Again, is your team a physical, gritty team? How disciplined are we? Again, one of our stats would be, 4 or less penalties in a game. So how disciplined are we? Are we running around just, kind of being stupid out there, or are we staying disciplined? Taking hits to make plays, sacrificing to block shots. That's another stat that that our guys felt is important. How willing are we to block shots and get in shooting lanes? And then obviously, your shift lengths, 30 to 40 seconds, unselfish. We want to roll 4 lines and make sure our depth shines through. So once you come up with that team foundation and that team identity, then you can put it into your goal setting. Okay, and it kind of goes hand in hand or step by step. So we use SMART goals, and I'm sure most of you guys have heard of it or are using it now. But SMART goals are, basically an important piece to analyzing your team's analytics. So again, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and then timely. So again, we challenge the players and we make it a team builder at the beginning of the season. We say, we break them up into 5 or 6 guys, and then we say, okay, what's our practice goals going to be this year? What's our game goals? What is our as a team, what's our team goals? All those, and then obviously they come up with their individual goals on their own. And so we'll have them submit their individual goals to us, mainly for correction, because a lot of guys don't really follow the whole SMART plan of what I just mentioned there. So we have to usually correct them and say, well, that's not specific enough, or it's not, do you think that's attainable? A guy that maybe has scored 5 goals that thinks he can score 30, right? So, know your role, know who you are, and then put it to use, whether it's individual or team goals. So again, when we do break off into the groups, everybody comes up with their own goals. We have them presented to the group, so it gives them a little bit of life skills there with one of the guys presenting in front of the group. And then again, the biggest thing for you guys as coaches is we can now hold them accountable for the goals that they've come up with. And we do that by using the analytics and the video to keep track of these goals. So it, again, like I said, it goes all hand in hand, but if they come up with it, you can hold them accountable from there. So again, here's, this will be quick because I already kind of mentioned this, but these are the goals that our guys came up with. So one of them was 30 plus shots a game and 30 less against. So it kind of, again, ties into your O-zone, D-zone play. 6 or less odd man rushes a game. So that goes into your tracking and your puck management. And then 4 or less turnovers at the blue lines per period. So I guess 12 per game. Usually we don't hit that one, but it's something that we're striving towards still. 12 hits per period or 36 a game. That goes back to your intangibles or your team tough. So our guys feel that we need to be physical if we're going to have success. 50% or better on draws. We want to start with the puck. We're a possession team, and then 4 or less penalties ties into the discipline side. So that's kind of how it shakes down. And again, it'll help track your analytics and through your video. So, and I'm going to show you guys a sheet here in a second, but here is some of the analytics that we track through our individual breakdown. So shift lengths, time on ice, hits versus flybys, shot blocks, scoring chances created versus scoring chances against. So again, for example, we had a guy, we had numerous guys last year, and last year was a real good year for us, but Carter Savoy, Arjun Atwell, you look at those guys, you look at Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. What's their analytics showing? Are they creating more scoring chances than they're giving up against, or are they doing more harm than good out there? I mean, we don't care if you have 50 goals and 100 points. If you're if you're a minus player or you're getting scored on more times than not, then you're probably not going to be on the ice with 10 or less to go if we have a 1-goal lead, or even 5 or less, right? So those are things that you can track again, and you can just show the players, hey, until you're better defensively, I mean, yeah, you're creating a ton for us, but if you're giving up a ton of chances, I mean, I can't have you out there under 3 minutes left when the game's on the line. Individual shots on goal, individual turnovers, that's anywhere on the ice. Face-off percentage in all 3 zones, D zone, neutral, and O zone, and then obviously we tally that up for a total. And then how many do they win on their forehand or their backhand? That's an important analytic or an important stat where maybe guys overlook that. They just kind of look at the overall picture of, okay, are they good in their D zone, neutral, or offensive zone? How many are they winning on their forehand? Maybe a guy is, in that particular game, maybe he gets 30 draws and they're all on his forehand side. And if any of you guys have played, obviously, winning draws on your forehand side is a lot tougher than your backhand side. So again, that's something that where the analytics will tell you, yeah, okay, the guy might, he might not be very good on his forehand side, but maybe our winger's got to get in there. Maybe he's trying to tie up more times than not, and his analytic numbers are coming down because his wingers aren't getting in there and helping him. So those are little things that you can look at and again track through video. And then your goaltenders, saves versus shots against, your overall save percentage, goals against, and then we have a stat that is the big save percentage. And we track that, and it's not a hard stat to keep, but we want to know how many big saves our goaltenders can make when the opposition team has scoring chances inside the home plate area or the house. Because if he's only stopping 60%, that's not very good, right? We know that if we're giving up grade A chances, we're probably not getting a lot of big saves from our goaltenders. So, the save percentage, the overall save percentage can be deceiving sometimes because, maybe they're only getting shots from the perimeter on that night and he's rocking a 950. Maybe they're getting a lot of quality grade A scoring chances and he's got a 970 save percentage because he was, he stopped 12 out of 13 chances in the slot. So that'll kind of give you a little bit of a deciphering difference on which goalies are playing better and which guys are making the big saves at the key times in hockey games. So then we move on to our team side. And so again, just to break it down, shots on goal versus against, we track how many shots that we had in the offensive zone, off the rush, off the power play, or on the penalty kill offensively. And then obviously reversed, how many shots did we give up in our D zone, off the rush, or again on the power play or the penalty kill. So that number will decipher whether, if they had, out of their 30 shots in the game, they had 20 in the D zone. You'd have to look at the video and say, holy, were we that bad in the D zone, or was everything on the perimeter? If they had 15 shots off the rush out of those 30, again, was it from long range, or were they getting grade A chances off the rush? Maybe that ties back into your tracking. Were we giving up too many odd mans? What was our coverage off the rush like? Those types of things. And then on the power play and the penalty kill, I mean, how's your PK doing? Are you giving up the shots that you want from the flankers, or wherever wherever your PK wants to give up, pucks from? So how many are you giving up? Are you getting in shooting lanes? Is that a reason why, teams have 10 shots out of their 30 on the power play, because we're not doing a good enough job getting in the lanes? And then obviously vice versa on the power play. Are we keeping it simple on the power play? Are we overpassing? Things like that again, you can translate to your video and you can track through your analytics. Your face-off percentage, we talked about that in all 3 zones. Scoring chances for and against, from a team perspective. Odd man rushes, turnovers in the offensive zone, neutral zone, D zone, and blue lines. And one area that we feel with it, we have a younger D-core this year. So one area that we've struggled in is the neutral zone. And that's something that Jeff's been working on, our D coach, at trying to teach our D, hey, we don't have to jam it up the wall. We don't have to rush plays. Bring it back, slow the game down. Allow our neutral zone to get into their structure, rather than trying to play the game so fast. And because of that, that's going to lead to turnovers. So that's something that's been a glaring number for us. And again, we're trying to help our young guys figure that out. We talked about the blue line success rate, power play penalty kill above 110. 4 or less penalties, and then goals for or goals against in the first or last minute of a period. How good were we in the critical times of the game? Whether that's starting a period, are we ready to play, or late in a period? Are we fatigued? Are we making bad decisions? Those types of things. So here's a look at the sheet, just to give you an example. So this was from Camrose. We played them in preseason. We beat them 4-1. You can see our shots for, 10-7 in the first, 17-10 in the second, 11-11 in the third, 38-28 total. We had 16 shots created in the offensive zone. We gave up 13 in our D zone. We had 9 shots off the rush, 6 for Camrose. We had 5 shots on the power play. They had 6, but we also generated 6 shots for on our penalty kill. So we did a good job, whether that's down ice pressure, disrupting their power play breakout, whatever it might be. Maybe our penalty kill end zone was real good and we were creating turnovers, those types of things. Scoring chances for and against, we had 19, they had 13. Hits versus flybys, 15-2 in the first, 5 in the second, 7-1 in the third. So, that total, did we hit our goal of 36? No. We had 27 hits, but and three flybys. And then turnovers at each line, right? And the numbers, I don't have to walk you guys through it all. I mean, you can read the numbers yourself here, but face-offs, we were only 45% in that game, so clearly we didn't hit our goal of 50. Power play penalty kill 133, so we were good on the power play. We took 6 penalties, so again, too many, and we didn't give up a goal, or we didn't score a goal in the first or last minute of the period, so we were even. And then again, here's our guys listed here. How many hits they had, flybys, shot blocks, shots on goal, whether they were, plus or minus, scoring chances created versus against, turnovers, and then obviously face-off percentage. Our goaltending was very good that night, 964, and 92% in the scoring areas for our goaltender. So he was making the big saves when we needed it, and that, you guys know that usually leads to wins. Goaltending seems to be everything. So now we'll jump into the pre-scout, and we got vid for you of our playoff package from Drayton last year that we did not get to play in the second round. But again, as a staff, we would break down video of our opponent. We would watch for tendencies, the analytics side, measure their strengths and weaknesses. Again, might be tough, at your guys' level, because we're lucky enough with Hockey TV that we can just go on and download any game that we want. I know this year, and I don't know if it's continuing, hopefully it is, for your guys' sake, that they continue to stream the games on Hockey TV and continue down that path, because you guys have an advantage over myself when I was coaching the midgets in Grand Prairie. You'd only see a time twice in a year, and if it was early in the year, you wouldn't necessarily know if that team's still going to be running the same structure. If you play them in game 1 compared to game 25, a lot of changes can be made from that point to that point. So, but what areas are they successful in? Are they very good off the rush? Are they a good forecheck team? Do they come hard at you on the forecheck, or are they a good transition team? Some teams like to go quick up. Other teams like to slow it down, move it D to D, and slow it down in the neutral zone. So those are, again, things you have to look for within your opponent. Where can we expose them? Do they not track back well? Maybe they're a very skilled team that likes to play offense and maybe not defense. Maybe that's something that we can tell our guys, hey, defensemen, get active into the rush, make it a 4-on-3, 4-on-2. Their forwards don't track back hard, so we can get odd mans, and that's where we're going to generate our offense more times than not. Do they struggle on their breakouts or their exits? Maybe their defensemen maybe they hear footsteps. Maybe they're rimming pucks. So those are things that you can kind of expose on video. And again, are they a high risk, high reward team? Turnovers versus puck management. Where they're maybe going to dangle at the offensive blue line instead of chip it in. So those are things that maybe you tell your D, hey, hold your gap. They'll run into you. They're not looking to chip it by in. Which kind of carries over into the carry versus dump entry on the forecheck. And how creative are they off the rush? Things like that. As coaches, we have to be aware of what the other team is doing. So are they switching their forecheck? Maybe they run a 1-2-2 in the first period, and then they flip to a 2-1-2 or a 2-3 press. Those are things that you have to watch for, and you got to watch for those triggers or those tendencies, in order to give yourself and your team a chance to not only adapt and adjust, but to have success. D-zone coverage. Does the team play man on man? Do they play zone? Do they get exposed below the rant line, above the rant line? Where can we expose that team in the offensive zone? I mentioned the transition already. Breaking down their neutral zone forecheck. Are they playing a 1-2-2, a 1-3-1, a 2-1-2, a 1-1-3? Obviously, the 1-1-3 has become a little bit more popular within Barry Trotz's system with the Islanders, and he brought it in Washington. When they won the cup, so he's obviously carried it over with the Islanders. So again, stuff that you can track through video. How often are they doing it? Are they switching their forecheck up? Maybe, to start, we've seen teams in our league, off any neutral zone draw, they'll send two guys. But then during live play, they'll go into a 1-2-2, and they'll be a little bit more conventional. So those are things, again, that you can track through video, show your guys, put it on the pre-scout, say, hey, off draws, D-man, be ready. They're jumping both their wingers. And then, in live play defenseman, you'll have a little bit more time because they're only sending one. And then obviously face-offs. Tons of teams run set plays. You have to make sure that you see that on video and that you clip those, because again, how often do they run them per period? Are they running 3, 4, 5 draws? D zone, O zone, neutral zone? You have to be able to pick those out and give yourself again the best chance of being ready for that. Power play breakout, power play end zone. Again, where are they generating their shots from? Maybe they have a really good top guy, but he's more of a distributor. For Washington, obviously, Ovi's on the flanker side. So a lot of teams, maybe migrate to him a little bit, and they make sure that they're not giving him that cross seam play. Things like that would play into the analytics side. Even I put in here the retrieval percentage off the first shot. Is their net front guy good at going to get pucks off rebounds? Penalty kill forecheck. Are they a down ice pressure team? Are they more passive? Passive would be a 1-3 or maybe a floating box where they try and clog it up in the neutral zone. And then obviously down ice pressure, you'd be sending one guy hard, maybe even two. If you really get ballsy, and you're trying to create those turnovers down ice, trying to prevent teams from getting set up into their breakouts. What's their success rate at preventing entry by holding the line? Are they going to force a dump in, or are they going to allow that carry entry? And again, PK end zone, aggressive box, maybe passive. What are they running? Are they running? Are they shifting from a box into a diamond, a box into what we call a T, which a lot of teams in the NHL are doing right now. And then again, face-off, set plays, stuff like that. So here's a little bit of video that we cut, and I think we're pretty much through a lot of the data side. So I'll try and zip my lips here a little bit. Hopefully it hasn't been too much for you guys. But just some examples of Drayton here. So this was preparing for last year, going in against Drayton in the second round. So again, you can see we've used some of the video against us, and we might have some video against Bonnyville, who they played in the first round, just to make sure that everything is current and that everything is still similar to when we played them earlier in the year. So here's a chance where we create the turnover on first contact, and what we found is Drayton was leaving the slot area exposed. So maybe their net front D wasn't shading up, so we were able to pick that slot or hit that weak side D, and we end up scoring off that play. Here's going to be another one. First contact, create the turnover. Slot guy is going to come into play here, right in this area here. 7, bang. Okay, and they were leaving the slot area exposed. So that was something that we wanted to tell our guys and have that trigger. Here's going to be another one. Watch 16 in the middle. Okay, you can see right here, their net front D is right next to their goaltender. He's almost a screen. So we just said, hey, pop to our F3, sitting around the dot area, and we can expose them. And we scored a bunch of goals, off plays like this. So again, good hard forecheck, create the turnover. This one's a little bit more of a jam play, but they lose 46. Tony Orsini, a little Vincent Scott, and that was his first AJ goal. So that gives you an example of maybe the ozone play. We know Drayton like to run a D reverse, or pardon me, a center reverse off their D zone draws. So we'd show that, and we'd tell our centerman, sorry, I'll back that up just a tad here. We'd tell our centerman, hey, we know this guy's going to wheel and then reverse. So just stay on the D side of this centerman, be ready to jump. And we did a good job there, played the ball, created a turnover there off the draw. And again, I won't take you through all of this, but here's their neutral zone forecheck. So they just send one. There's their first guy on the 1-2-2. Okay, and then they lock up middle, and you can't see it in the picture here, but they lock up strong side wall. So they'll give up the hinge or the flat play to the weak side guy. This was more of a controlled setting, so 1-2-2 on the control breakout. We can just 2-on-1 that guy, come over with speed, and then we 2-on-1 him, gain entry into the zone. That was well done by our guys there. Here's their forecheck. So again, one guy hard, two down the wall, three is reading and reacting. Okay, to what's going to happen here. So we tell our guy again, second quick option, just bump that to either side. Make sure we have good support, and then he's got to read it from there. We do a good job getting out there, nice and clean. Good support, D active into the rush, and we gain entry. Maybe not so much of a good puck management play there, but for the most part, getting out of our zone was good. Here's a set play in the ozone for Drayton. They run the Pittsburgh, or we call the Pittsburgh. They line up their D on their offsides right up here, lined up tight together. So we tell our wingers, make sure you watch for this, because they're lining their D up on their offsides. They're looking for a quick one-timer play. So I don't know if they're successful here. Yep, they get it up. This time, Bodyville was quick getting out there, so they didn't get a chance to run that. Here's a shot of their penalty kill. Okay, so we ran a double tap back. Okay, with our two guys coming underneath. Expose this first guy, bring him one way, tap it. Or actually on that one, oh yeah, no, we still do tap it on this one. And then we kick it out, gain entry. Okay, so we back them up with speed from our defenseman. Tap it back, and then we can carry it over the line. So just some looks of what we cut within the team structure side. Now, Eric Ward also played for Orsini at CAC. I don't know if this will ring true or not in terms of the pre-scout for him, but this is again something that we kind of broke down individually. Is that we were beating him a lot to the blocker side. So there's one to the blocker side, stick side. And we clipped all these. Here's another one. You already saw this one, blocker side. So we clipped, a lot of these. This one's from further distance, but that's the great view that we have in Drayton Valley and the Omniplex there. But you're going to just continue to see. I'll let this play out. Here's a 5-on-3. Clapper beat him through the stick side or through the arm on the blocker side. Here's another one. Cheds, blocker side. Didn't even see that one from Savoy. I'll back that up because that was just a sick shot. Okay, just under the bar, water bottle shot, blocker side. So again, these are some of the little things that we exposed Ward on. Here's another small thing. So off the rush, our ozone entry. So we 2-on-1 this defenseman. Good play to attack the triangle of the stick. And then we were saying Wardo comes out very aggressive, okay, on any plays where it's in tight. So have patience, have poise, wait for him to make the first move. Don't shoot it right away. And there's a good example. Slides way out of position, tries to overcommit. Good job by Whitey there to hold. I won't play this one because it's from bad view. As we play this one out, again, look at him sliding all over the place. Okay, just caught kind of on his stomach. Here's another one on a 5-on-3. Attack low. Okay, and then he's down. So again, down and out, get it up. Okay, and he just didn't push across very well there. So little things that that we exposed, you know, again, their team structure individually, stuff like that. So just some examples there. So again, video analysis, what does your team use? And I know I apologize as we're getting up to 7 o'clock here, so hopefully, you know, I'm going to be done here in a second. But, you know, obviously there's a number of video options out there, way more than maybe in the past. So again, the most commonly used in the AJ, Western League, U Sport, NHL level, it's, you know, Stiva, XOs, Game Breaker. So again, I encourage you guys, you know, if you don't have one of those, you know, obviously they're expensive. So, you know, I get it. If the club can't pay for it, or if you guys can't pay for it yourself, that's not expected. But you know, play around with it, just experiment. You know, Steve is very simple for the most part. So you know, you can play around with the keys. I wish I could have pulled it up for you, but it's on a different laptop. XO is a little bit more complex, and then Game Breaker. Others that I pulled up on just, you know, Google. You know, Huddle is being a, you know, popular one. Dartfish. Never heard of it before, but it's apparently a new one. Coach Logic, and then BidSwap. But again, when you do use video, whether it's to track the analytics or show, you know, individual or team clips, you know, try and show more successful clips than maybe the negative, you know, negative clips, because obviously that's going to instill more confidence into your players and your team. And obviously we all know the game has changed, the players have changed, so you really got to, you know, pump them with that positive feedback. So one other thing that we do is we put together NCAA player highlight packages. These are things that you guys can definitely do if you're trying to promote a player. You know, maybe a guy that doesn't get as much, you know, he's not on the radar as much. You know, maybe he's, you know, one of your heart and soul guys. He's a character guy. Maybe he doesn't put up, you know, 50 or 60 points a year, and you want to promote him to you know, to a team like ourselves or somebody else. So this is what we do for Division I schools, because, you know, your word and your track record go a long way, but it's definitely nice to send these to schools or show, you know, the players and parents that we're trying to recruit, you know, what your dressing room looks like, what your rink looks like, you know, what it's like to be a part of our program. So, so I guess, well, like I said, I know we're getting up to an hour here, but I had 3 kind of video clips left here. Just, and again, I won't play them all to an extent, but here's a good one. Just again, of an individual skill that we would pull Carter Savoy in for, you know, and we'd say, hey, you got a great wide base here. You know, you shield the puck very well. You lean in, you play the body on the defenseman, which it's not even fair in my mind with how well he does that. And then again, Wardo aggressive there, poke check, ends up beating him. But a great puck protection clip. Another one right here, same guy. Lean in, take it hard across the blue paint, goal. Just good individual clips that you can show your guys. Here's another one. I know it's from long range, but what a play to cut the blue paint, take it hard to the net, and that's stuff that we work on in practice all the time. Here's another one below the goal line. Take it hard to the paint, straight across, beat them. So these are little individual clips. This is more of a team structured clip where we'd say, okay, we got our wide lane drive, our mid lane drive. What are we telling this guy individually skill wise? Okay, like this guy does a great job opening up, okay, so that he can see what he's got, buys time. And now we're going to tell 21, open up your body, be ready for a one-timer. Make that play easy. It's a backdoor tap in, right? If he's on his backhand there, it's a very difficult play. Again, 2 of the best here, Savoy and Atwell. Give, go, one-timer, bang, back of the net. So again, we show our team clips wide in our mid-lane drive. Okay, here's another one, wide to mid-lane, score off it. Okay, I'll speed these up because there's a bunch of them. But we'll just show some different variations here. So here's a wide and a mid-lane drive, but a little bit of a different variation where we want the D's gap is maybe not as good as it should be. Let's tell our forwards, cut the ice, take the ice behind, let this guy push them back. Okay, and he does a great job sucking the pressure to him. And by that time, Spruce gets lost, and that leaves the original guy that was pushing the middle lane wide open at the net, and we end up scoring off it. Here's a triple drive clip, middle lane entry, kick it out. and just a shot off the rush ends up going in. Okay, so we would show our team, you know, these clips here. This is going to be a beauty right here. So again, mid lane entry, kick it out, wide guy, backdoor guy, in tight. Okay, so just little options that we work on in practice that you can show to your team here. Here's another good mid lane push, shot far pad, third guy puts it home. Okay, so just little things like that. I'll show some four-man attacks. Here's our second wave clips coming up here, right here. So we create the turnover. You can see our D gets active into the play. We got four-man, three wide lane, mid lane, dot lane, and then our fourth guy jumping into the rush. So again, nice job taking ice, slowing his feet down, letting the play develop. He sees that, okay, we don't have our top guy, we don't have our middle lane guy. They're forgetting about this backside guy. So put it far pad, and then he's the guy that ends up finishing off the play. Okay, so again, tell your D-man, activate into the rush. You know, it's very tough to play against. Here's another one, hit the wide guy, hit the late D. Okay, so just some examples of some clips, whether it's a two-man rush, three-man rush, or a four-man rush. And then just little skills again. This one's quick, but just little things here. There's a stick lift on the wall right there. Okay, so we work on that all the time with our with all of our guys. Whether it's that second effort, stick lift, stick on puck. Okay, you're going to see one right here. Keeps the play alive. Stick lift right there. Bang. Okay, keeps the play alive. Keeps it in the offensive zone. Here's another one right there. Okay, second effort. Now instead of White going the other way, we're coming back the other way. And then here's a good stick on puck clip. Okay, whether it's your D-man or your forwards, long and calm, stick on the puck, mirror that thing. Okay, good push skating wise. I know Joel will appreciate that because he's all over the skating part, but good job. Just C-cuts, no crossover, good stick on puck, eliminates the shot from happening there. Here's another one. Okay, so again, his feet, no crossover, always leading with his stick. Okay, stops on it. You can see he's still set, sticks out there, prevents the play. Okay, so some really good just individual skill clips that you can also incorporate into your video. And then this would just be an example of our highlight package. Okay, so we have Kale Ashcroft. He's a 16-year-old. We put this together for him. He's probably got 12 or 13 D1 schools after him right now. But again, just, you know, his, oh, there's sound to this too. I didn't even know that. I guess I haven't looked at it for a while, but so we get a little bio and then we can show his goals. You know, stuff like that.
Doesn't get all the way through, stopped up.
And then just, again, I won't take you guys through it all, but just goals, assists. Maybe it's breakout clips, assists and puck movement. This is how we kind of target it.
Shotski comes down, but can't keep the puck in the zone. Ashcroft
so here's
back to his own zone.
a good play, just quick up, snap it.
Stretch feed. Here's Gibson.
And then we end up scoring a little play. I just want to show you guys some breakout clips here too. Let's see here if I can find
first
for it.
Mueller sends him for a loop. Way out. Couple of Saints get a line change in. Gunther gonna walk in. There's a shot. They score!
Sorry guys, I'm just trying to find it here, but I don't know if I can. But there was just some good skating skills that we could have found just individually that we put in here. But like I said, I'm already running late here by probably 7 minutes, maybe more. So I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time if you got stuff to do. But that was basically the end of the the end of the presentation. So it's funny how quick an hour goes, but hopefully you guys that wasn't too boring for you and you guys were able to take something out of it. So Joel, I'll pass it back to you, I guess, and if there's any questions, I can definitely help out or answer them as best I can.
Oh, that was awesome, Adam. Really appreciated that, and it's crazy to see the amount of work that goes into preparing your team and getting and generating that data in the video too. So if anybody has any questions, you could fire them in the group chat. I'll fire one just to start, and we kind of chatted about this a little bit earlier, but have you ever had an experience where a video or data, was maybe harmful for a player as opposed to good? Have you ever gone through anything like that?
Well, I guess So I guess you'd be referring to, did we bring the player in and then, maybe showed him a bad clip and did it go sideways? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I guess that
Okay,
could be it too, but it could also be maybe where too much information or stuff like that, and or even like how do you make a read on your team when it is too much? Like, what are some things that you maybe look for? We could pose it that way too.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, again, it goes back to your sense and your feel of what we talked about early of, if you showed a guy, and again, with us having a young team, I mean, we could pick and choose a lot of little things that we want to correct and try and speed up their development process. But I mean, sometimes you just less is more, and you kind of have to let them just figure it out themselves. I mean, overloading them with, whether it's bad clips or, well, I'll refer to them as, maybe negative clips. That's not going to really help them. We're better off bringing guys in, especially those young guys, and showing them good clips of maybe what they're doing rather than just exposing them on the negative end and, just helping them that way. Have we had any, I guess, bad encounters when we've done it? I would say no. But again, it's not just me that's kind of in charge of that department. I mean, I really lean on Jeff, in terms of, hey, this is what I have clipped for your D. Take a look at it. What do you think? Like, what do you want to, pick and choose what you want to show, what's important. And then, that way we don't maybe get cornered or suckered into that part where the player's kind of giving us the eyeballs, being like, hey, seriously. So we're really careful with that end. And I think as you guys, for you guys as coaches, you want to be careful with that too, and you want to make sure that this is probably the biggest thing because it holds, the players want to know that you're credible, right? They want to know that you know what you're talking about. So, I mean, guys, for example, for us, when we had Carter Savoy and Mike Benton in our lineup, I mean, two guys that just got NHL drafted, we're there to help them and show them these clips. But at the same time, I might reverse the flow and bring them in and say, maybe it is not a negative clip, but maybe it's a correction clip. And I would just say to, Savvy, hey, take a look at this clip. What do you think? Do you like this clip? Do you think you could have did anything different? I'm not going to tell them, okay, this way is the right way and that way is the wrong way. You maybe have to have a feel of, maybe you just bring them in and you ask them yourself and then let them answer the question. Sometimes that's more valuable than maybe you just coming down hard on the guy or maybe not even hard, but just, them taking it as a negative instead of maybe a positive.
Yeah.
Hopefully that kind of answered that question.
No, I think that was good. Yeah. One just from Curtis in regards to the what software do you use for your recruitment packages?
So it's all the same. So we use Stiva. So Stiva, again, hopefully your club teams are helping you guys out with that. When I was in GP, that's how I got first accustomed to Stiva. When we came in, they got it for every team. If it's not something, I would think by now it's incorporated in every organization, but if it isn't, I think that's something that you guys should definitely be jumping on to say, go to the club and say, hey, this is, we need this. If we want our players to develop, and I think, I don't know, is this just structured towards, kind of the city teams, or is this NAX and OHA and all those teams as well?
Mostly for the city teams. Yeah.
Mostly for the city teams. So I mean, you guys have seen, and it's again not right or wrong which team they go to or whatever. Obviously, the parents and players will dictate where they want to go and where they want to play. But if the organization has a good structure and foundation in place, and you can show them video and develop them that way, you're probably going to keep more kids in your program. And it's no different for us. I mean, recruiting wise, they want to come to a good program that's going to help them with all that stuff, right? So, like I said, we use Stiva. I think it's $1,200 year to year just to renew it. I think they give us a deal on that. So again, I'd be shocked if they didn't help out the organizations in terms of price and cost, and just make sure that every team, has multiple, I guess, memberships. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's it. That's all we had for questions that came in, but that's a lot of work, eh?
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, you said it best there. Right when we ended the vid. I mean, guys, well, I mean, I'm recently single now, but even if you do have a woman or whatever, or a girlfriend or wife, I mean, they have to know. I mean, if you're passionate about this, like, and it's your love, like you gotta do everything that you can to help your guys and make yourself better as a coach. That's probably the best advice I can give you in terms of, I get it. You have to balance the whole wife and hockey life. I totally understand that part, but if you want to be a good coach, if you want to be, I don't know how many of you guys want to be career coaches, but if you do want to be that guy, then put in the time to get better. I mean, for myself, I'm always looking at the off season as a time where, I'll hit reset, I'll take some time off, but there's never an off season where I am not watching something, or whether it's Instagram or any type of social media, or these NHL Coaches Association clinics, or the coaches site. Like, sign up for those. See if your team will cover that, because it's not a massive membership fee for the year. But then you can go on, you can learn at your own pace, you can learn from other guys. I mean, nowadays we're lucky that there's so many tools at our fingertips that there's really no excuse to not get better. I mean, back in the old days, there was no internet, there was no this, there was no that. I mean, the only way you could get better is by going to watch the Oilers development camp, at Millennium Place back in the day. And that's something that I used to do. I would just go sit in the crowd and just learn new things, watch drills, all things that could help not only myself, but our team get better throughout the year. So, I mean, always strive to get better, because your players are, and I think you guys can see that nowadays, that players, even this 3-month break that they had, from COVID, like, you would think, holy, they're out of options here, but those guys, they're working on skills at the ODR. They're hiring skills guys. They're doing this. They're doing that. Like, it's crazy. Like, we, for any guys that, like, I'm 34, but for any guys that maybe were, are older than me or somewhere in the age range, we never had that stuff. And maybe it's just me, but it's amazing what the players have nowadays. So, I mean, even for our guys coming back after these 3 months, I'm actually thoroughly impressed of how they have kept in shape and how good they've been on the ice. Because we thought, Jesus, they're going to be rusty, coming in, and it won't be very good, but they've been quite good. So definitely use every option that you have. Call guys, lean on guys. Hey, like, guys shouldn't be afraid to share their knowledge or share drills or anything like that. Like, if you are, I just don't think you're in the business to get better. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I could share the same drill with Joel, and maybe Joel's not concentrating on the same habits and details that I am. So at the end of the day, he'll run it the way he wants. I'll run it the way I want. And that's what's going to set you apart from the next guy, is how you run that drill, all the little things that go into that drill, the skills, how you break it down. What are you doing before, if it's a complex drill, what are you doing to break down the skills before you get into that complex drill, so that you can have success to run that drill, right? So again, setting yourself up, or setting your players up for success, so your practice runs smoothly. And sorry, I kind of went on there, but hopefully that all adds up. And again, if you guys have any questions, lean on me. It's you can call me anytime, or shoot me an email or text me. And right now, obviously, if we were allowed to have people in the stands, you could come watch our practice anytime, and I would sit down with you after, or whatever, if you had questions. I think, Curtis, you even text me, about coming out to practice, but obviously there's no people allowed in the building right now. So yeah, I'll try and pipe down here. I'm just excited, and I love this kind of stuff. So, just try to get better myself and help you guys as well, because I had a lot of good people and a lot of good mentors that have gotten me to this point now.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think on behalf of Hockey Edmonton and the coaches that are here, thanks so much, and really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
That sounds good. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for staying on.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.